読み直しているで読み直しているだけがで読み直しているで読み直してで読み直しているで読み直しているで読み直しているエキスしたいとで読み直しているで読み直しているだけがで読み直しているしたいとで読み直しているで読み直しているだけがで読み直しているで読み直してで読み直しているで読み直しているで読み直しているエキスしたいとで読み直しているで読み直しているだけがで読み直しているで読み直している
What's up? What's up? All right. What color are we doing? I didn't get this set up. It's white, pink, green, blue, purple. I like the purple one the most. I'm doing purple. What's up? Good morning, mashed potatoes. Got my white glove shirt on this morning. Got to represent the carpet cleaning world. Layered over top's light blue shirt. My color coordination is on fire. And I got my cup of coffee. You're only going to catch this action if you show up live to the stream or if you watch it on YouTube later on. But we do this live, baby, Monday mornings. Today's January 24th. It's 8:08 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. We do it live on Twitch, on YouTube, and on Facebook. And it's a different name under each one. We got to make that easier. Twitch is Alpha Seltzer. My video game name, ALFASELTZER. Maybe I should just make a new Twitch for Caden's podcast. But Facebook is under Caden's podcast, and YouTube is under Caden Kelly, my channel, which is also Caden's podcast. Anyway, so if you're listening to this after it's posted on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, then what are you doing? What are you doing not showing up Monday morning? Sleeping? That's not what we do on Monday morning. We don't sleep in. Well, some of us sleep in. My girlfriend's sleeping right now. She was supposed to go to work at 6, and then they put her on call when she got up, so she went right back to bed. Who can blame her, though? We had a crazy weekend last weekend. We got like zero sleep because we did bingo night on Saturday, birthday bingo night, and karaoke. And some of those motherfuckers were singing karaoke until 4 in the morning. And that's not an exaggeration. I tried to check out around 11, but I was hosting, so I had to stick around. And then I eventually called it quits around 1. I just said, fuck it. And I left. Left all my karaoke stuff at the venue. And my girlfriend was there all night, her parents, some of their friends. So, man, I just suck at staying up late. Even to play video games anymore. It's a little easier when you play video games, though. I don't know. I think it's maybe because it's the flashing lights in my face and because I love it. Yesterday, I played video game. We played for like 4 hours, 5 hours. From like 3:30 to 8. It was awesome. I love video games. Man, why can't I just do just do it during the... Why can't all of our friends just play during the day? Everyone's always going to work and spending time with their loved ones, and then they only play it in the evening time. Like they got their priorities straightened out. Sorry, I'm fidgeting again. I got to stop fidgeting. So what can you expect from me? I'm sitting in a room talking to a camera all by myself. Yeah, mashed potatoes, you should still hate Horse. He's a mad shit talker. And you know what? I'd rather keep the peace in the Discord and keep playing games than talk shit. And because then when I lose, if people start talking shit to me, I start to feel really bad. But the only thing I'm going to say is, as much as you're going to hate on Horsley for playing on a controller and using the Wrangler, Ian did it just as much. And he played on a controller, and he was top fragging. So that's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. Ian was doing the same thing. And I love them both for it. And I thought it was a great time. I mean, I came out with $10 last night, But then I lost 15 to Horsley and Steez in Valorant, so whatever. All right. Yeah. Yeah, ... is right, Hade. ... is right. I've got some ideas for our concerts some more ideas. I'm going to text you after. Don't let me forget. But we're going to get started. Oh, shit. I don't have my phone with all my notes. Yeah, I got to get that. I'm going to be right back. I'm going to do this. Pause screen. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay. All right, I'm back. Oh, wrong one. Yep, I'm back. All right. Sorry about that. Last week, we read Karma, A Yogi's Guide to Crafting Your Destiny, written and read by Sadhguru. Sadhguru is a yogi, a mystic, and the founder of the Isha Foundation, an all-volunteer organization engaged in large-scale humanitarian and environmental projects. He is the founder of the Isha Yoga Center in Coimbatore, India, and the Isha Institute of Inner Sciences on the Cumberland Plateau in central Tennessee. You've probably seen him. I've seen his videos on social media, his wisdoms. But that's because my algorithm knows me. So, he's a yogi, a mystic, and a huge humanitarian. He's like a low-scale philanthropist. Reviews by Will Smith, Tony Robbins, Tom Brady, Deepak Chopra, and Rosanna Arquette, Arquette. Yeah. So I picked this book because I have not done a philosophical yoga book in a while. And I didn't know, I wasn't familiar with Sadhguru really at all. I've seen his videos on Instagram and TikTok. And then I found this book just browsing the Apple library. I still have a list of like wish list books, a list of books that I want to get through, maybe like a dozen. But I'm trying to break up books between topics, between yoga, between stoicism, between financial literacy, between self-development, between human history and origin. And I've got more. I think I have more books on like the financial literacy than I do anything else. So uh, I'm just trying to keep it fresh, keep everyone on their toes. But I really liked this book. I also learned a lot about yoga. Uh, Yoga. When people think of yoga, they think of like doing poses and doing postures, and maybe even they think about deep breathing and meditating. But yoga is a lot more than just the poses. And he talks about the they're called the 8 limbs of yoga. And I talked about the 8 limbs from I might have talked about them after reading Patanjali's book, the Yoga Sutras. And sutras means like verses, if I remember right. So yoga, this is Sadhguru's interpretation of karma, and Sadhguru is a yogi, and yogis, like the full. I was having a discussion about this with my friend yesterday. I think the sad thing about yoga is one of the depressing aspects of it is so expensive to do, because people look at yoga as some kind of exercise, as physical exercise, which it is. The postures are not easy. The hot yoga is not easy. None of it's easy. But that's one aspect of eight about yoga. So business and okay, I'm gonna share the 8 limbs of yoga really fast. They are yama, and there's the Sanskrit. I'm gonna read the Sanskrit and then the translation. There's yama, restraints; niyama, observances; asana, postures, the postures; pranayama, breath control; pratyahara, withdrawal of the senses; dharana, concentration; dhyana, meditation; and samadhi, pure contemplation. So pure yoga is incorporating all of those limbs, all 8 aspects of yoga. So when you sign up for a yoga studio, you're paying $140 a month or $100 a month, wherever you're going. But people are like, oh, yoga's so expensive. Why don't I just go to a gym? Because a gym is at the most like $25 a month. I think EOS gym is like $25 a month max. I pay for a $10 membership, and I go get my ass kicked there every day, just about. And so people are like, I'll just go to a gym. I don't want to do yoga. But really, yoga is a religion. It's like a religion. It's a sect of Buddhism, I guess, and it's when you go to church and you pay tithing, you're paying, depending however much you pay in tithing, you're probably paying more than this to go to church, $140 to go to church, and that's the same thing. You pay $140, and the yoga experience should include all 8 branches. You shouldn't be going just for the exercises. You should be going to learn postures and breath control, and focus on observances, restraints, contemplation, meditation, concentration, and withdrawal of senses. There's a lot more to. Yeah, this website's cool. This website has the 5 yamas, the 5 restraints. There's nonviolence, truthfulness, non-stealing, non-coveting, and celibacy. This is a fucking religion. I'm telling you. Yoga is a religion. The observances are study, purification, contentment, asceticism, and dedication to God or master. That was the niyamas, observances. I'm going to read these. These are awesome. I love this website. Oh, where's the rest? Oh, it's only got those 2. Oh, because I guess how are you going to... There's like a bajillion postures. But I want more on like the breath control and Anyway. But there is descriptions for it. There's like paragraphs under each section. Anyway, that's the point. So it's a shame that yoga has, in like the Western view of yoga is purely for exercise, because it's not purely for exercise. It's to enhance all aspects of your life. And it's supposed to cleanse and purify your mind and your body, just like a religion can do for anybody else, like Mormonism or like Christianity, or like Catholicism, or like Baptist, whatever, all the religions, except for Scientology. I'm just joking. That was a dumb joke, but they're kind of a cult because I watched that Leia Remy show on Showtime. So anyway, so karma. When you listen to his description of karma, it might ring true to you in a lot of different ways that you might get from religion, from any religion that you practice. So let's get started. The book is broken into 3 parts. Most books are, I'm noticing. Part 1 is the what of karma. Part 2 is the how of karma, and part 3 is the buts and the whys of karma. Okay, I started this with a quote from him, from Sadhguru. He says, and this is how he says the word karma. He says karma because he's Indian and he has an accent, but he lives in Tennessee as well. So he says, karma is the only concept that addresses human perplexity in the face of suffering. I said, this is why the Indian word has entered every language and culture. Yoga cannot be fully addressed in the book or in any book. It requires training and practice to fully experience. That's the 8 fucking limbs, baby. I'm going to read them one more time. Just the limbs. Restraints, observances, posture, breath control, withdrawal of senses, concentration, meditation, pure contemplation. Samadhi. So this is the what, the how, and the whys of yoga, of karma, excuse me. Okay. Karma is not our enemy. Neglecting karma can be deeply wounding. So learn how to shape your future and reap the benefits of karma. Chapter 1, the eternal enigma. What does enigma mean? Mystery. A person or thing that is mysterious, puzzling, or difficult to understand. Karma is your action in body, mind, and energy. He kind of goes over how the concept of yoga has been manipulated in society. He explains it's one of the only words that has been incorporated in almost every language. Karma. Because it's before reading this book, I thought of karma as what you give is what you receive, or what you do is what you receive. It's whatever energy you put out in the world is what you receive. And he says karma is a little more complex, but it can also be understood a lot more simply than that. Karma is your action in body, mind, and energy. He says, quote, the moment you wait before engaging in a compulsion, you are aligning yourself with the conscious nature of existence. Karma is karma is everything that happens. I think I explained later that karma basically is consequence. Your own consequence and the consequence of all of those before us. And he talks about the consequence of those after us because of life, because of the life, the cycle, the natural cycle of life. Anyway, we'll get into it. If you use your phone to enhance activity, it is a source of empowerment. If you use it for your identity, it is a source of bondage. That's an example. Not just your phone, but anything that you use, you say, or you do If you use it as a source of activity, to enhance activity, it is a source of empowerment. Because, simply put, our selfish nature binds us to our to karma, to really for just negative events. The more selfish we are, when you're selfish, you are looking out for your own interest and neglecting those of others. And when you neglect the well-being of others, you are either intentionally or unintentionally making their life more difficult. And that your action has how would you say it? Karmatic consequences. So he says when you use when you make decisions to enhance activity, and I would interpret activity as contribution to the world. It's a source of empowerment, but when you use it for your own identity as a selfish measure, it's a source of bondage. All right, let's keep going. Chapter 2, volition, the basis of karma. That's another word I think I spelled it wrong. VOLITION. The faculty of power of using one's will. The basis of karma. Quote, intention motivated by a personal motivation always accrues much more karma for good or evil intentions. Karma is not a punishment or reward, just a process in which life tries to fulfill itself. Karma is not that is the way that society looks at karma, is when you do good, you receive good, and when you do evil, you receive evil. But that's not what karma is. Not that. Karma is just the consequence. But he says your intention motivated by a personal motivation always accrues much more karma, depending on your intentions, whether they're good or whether they're evil. But it always accrues much more karma. I said suppression means not to live life to the fullest. Living in the moment and living for your future produce different karma. Yeah, and that's pretty much everything that we've been talking about over the last 7 months. We either sacrifice our not our well-being. We either sacrifice our comfort today for comfort in the future, or we sacrifice our comfort in the future for comfort in the present. We either work hard on our bodies, in our relationships, and in our business now so that they prosper later on, or we neglect them today and make our lives harder in the future because it's more comfortable to not work hard, right? And how much do I have to keep beating the drum about comfort? It's good to be uncomfortable and to work hard. Today I was doing push-ups with that fucking weighted vest on, and push-ups are hard anyway, and they're even harder with the stupid vest. But you know what? We do them anyway because it's good for you. We do it because it's good for you. We get up early because it's good for you. We do this podcast at 8 a.m. because it's good for you. It's good to wake up early and to get your brain going and to start the week off the right way. It's good for you. Intention, yep. Karma is not a punishment or a reward. The cause of all suffering is oneself. Your perspective on pain either brings suffering or peace. Perspective, huge. That's a huge word. That's like the whole book is perspective. Your perspective on pain either brings suffering or peace. Because pain, here's what I'm concluding for now. Pain is inevitable. But suffering is a choice, and peace is a choice. Pain is inevitable because you get sick, or you stub your toe, or your girlfriend or boyfriend breaks up with you, or your loved one dies, because everybody dies. And that pain is inevitable. The sorrow is inevitable, but the suffering is a choice. And I went down a little rabbit hole looked up the definition for suffering, and part of it is pain, the state of undergoing pain, distress, and or hardship. So you would say, well, if pain is inevitable, then it isn't suffering inevitable. But I'm going to read some more of these definitions. Experience or being subjected to something unpleasant or bad. Like an illness or an ailment. Become or appear worse in quality. Where's the... I thought there was one. Allow someone to do something. My conscience would not suffer me. That's a different definition. Anyway, the point being, pain. Okay, I went down a rabbit hole, but I'm not hitting the point. Pain. The definition of pain is physical suffering. Coincidence? Or discomfort caused by illness or injury. Yeah. So I'd struggle with separating that pain is inevitable, suffering is a choice, but people get hurt and people get sick, and the experience sucks. But to live in a state of suffering is a choice. For example, I had COVID like a month ago, and I was way sick. I was very sick. I was like laying on the couch, unable to move for like 4 days. You remember that? When I told everyone I had COVID, from the podcast. And I could be sick and wallow in my misery and cause everyone around me to suffer with me and to be a dick and whatever. I could be an asshole and hate my life. But I was consciously trying to have a good attitude through the sickness, and I felt like shit. I was glad because I was able to get my work covered, so I could relax. I could stay home. And some people some people have to work to survive, or they lose their jobs. And I'm very grateful in a lot of ways, very lucky. But yeah, you can be sick, or like I broke my shoulder. My buddy broke his shoulder, but he still came to bingo. He had a great attitude, and he won the grand prize, which was a paddleboard, a blow-up paddleboard. He had a broken shoulder, and he still showed up and had a great time. And he might have been in a lot of pain. I know he's in a lot of pain because that whole thing sucks. Have a good day at work. Bye. So she ended up getting called in. She's not sleeping in anymore. So anyway, that was my girlfriend. So pain and suffering, yes. Pain is inevitable. The sorrow from ailments or injury or illness are inevitable. But to live in suffering is a choice. And then consequently, to live in peace is a choice. To experience hardship and to be at peace is a choice. And it takes practice to get there. And I don't know if we really talk about that today, but I've written about that in my blogs. So here's a good plug. If you haven't read any of my blogs, go check it out under cadenkellysblog.wordpress.com. I should add the link on my right here underneath the video. KAIDENKELLYSBLOG.wordpress WORDPRESS.com. It's good. I talk about peace. It's a choice. Okay, I'm going to keep going. But, okay, yeah, perspective. And so, okay, last thought. The biggest factor in determining peace or suffering is your perspective on the experience. And you can have loved ones die, and religions teach people to have a good perspective. They teach you that you can be with your loved ones again. And yogis and Buddha and yogis they preach that life is a continual cycle and that they'll be reborn in another life until we're all one in nirvana. And Stoics teach that there is no purpose in life, there's no point, there's no afterlife. And the best thing we can do is to meditate on our death because it comes for us all. And when it comes, you'll be at peace. So perspective is, if you just live your life and ignore questions and you ignore your thoughts and all of these hard things about life, you'll be when the hard things come, you'll be unprepared. And the worst thing you can do for yourself is be unprepared for any event, And you cannot always be prepared for everything, but if you I think I talk about that in my second to last blog about vulnerability. The way to overcome vulnerability is with courage and with preparation. So yeah, go read the blogs. They're good. They just, supplements to the podcast. Or maybe this is a supplement for the blog, huh? Maybe this is only secondary. So go read the blogs. Fate and destiny are what you have created in your unawareness. When you become conscious, your destiny becomes a conscious creation. Yeah, fate and destiny are they're not real. And he calls them he says that we have created fate and destiny in our unawareness. So in my interpretation of that is fate and destiny are just excuses for events that happen in our life. When you lose a job, or when you get a job, or when you meet someone and you say, "Oh, we were destined to meet," or "This is fate," or this is someone had preordained this. It's an excuse for not having control in your life. Making conscious decisions or being aware of events in your life. And that I don't think that includes coincidence, because I believe in coincidence. I do not believe in fate or destiny. I said when you become conscious, your destiny becomes a conscious creation. Your destiny becomes whatever you create it to be. And it's not going to turn out, if you dream that you'll be a millionaire by 30 and then you become 30 and then you do work really hard to be a millionaire, but when you're 30 you're not. That doesn't mean that destiny just doesn't want me to be a millionaire. It means that there were either things that you didn't do or things that you couldn't do, or opportunities that never came, or that you never took advantage of, or whatever. You'll become aware. But if you're like, I want to be a millionaire by 30, and we'll see what destiny has to do, and you just live your life like normal and don't do anything about it, you don't work hard and you don't make conscious decisions, you don't have the right intention, you just, we'll see what happens, and you turn 30, and then your grandpa dies, and in his will he wants to give you $1 million. Is that coincidence or is that destiny? I'm going to get some coffee. Oh yeah, I made another thought. And I think he said this. Passing off events as God or destiny is convenient, but neglects ownership and accountability. I could have just said that instead. Passing off events as God or destiny is convenient, but neglects ownership and accountability. Good or bad. Good things that come your way, it's convenient to pass them off as God blessing me, or destiny bestowing its whatever upon me, but it neglects ownership and accountability. And I tend to get a hard on for accountability over convenience or coincidence. Now, coincidence is tough because I just think shit happens sometimes. But ownership and accountability, we can take control of our lives today, and that doesn't mean that we're going to get, if I invest $1 in Dogecoin every day, it doesn't mean I'm going to be a millionaire in 10 years or whatever goal I have. But maybe I learn about investing in other ways and I become wiser. Maybe I lose a lot of money by doing it, but why? Why did I lose money, or why did I make money? Taking accountability for the events in your life is extreme ownership, just like Jocko Willink said, and like a whole bunch of other books that we've been reading. So this is volition. Having control of our own. Yeah, it wasn't volition having control of our own. Our own free will. The power of using one's free will. Cool. Chapter 3, Karma as Memory. You'll find the meaning of life by looking, not looking for what you want to see. The deepest form of suffering a person can feel is from losing their freedom. Since we are all one with each other and the earth, all events that occur is karma of our ancestors as well. So this chapter was all about what I was saying earlier about karma being, karma has karma as consequence of our ancestors. And an example that he gives, he tells a story, but I think the point is, if your grandpa. Oh, here's a good example. Last week, I went to Midway, Utah, to go get dinner for our birthday, and we were driving through Midway, beautiful little town. Really, really expensive homes out there, big homes on big plots of land, and I was thinking about the Paramount picture sensation Yellowstone. And I was thinking the premise is probably the same. And then I ended up reading on the menu at the restaurant we were at, the history of Midway, which was settled by 5 big families. And if I remember anything about settlements, or what's the word? What's the word anyway, I'm sure 5 families settled the whole land of Midway and took pretty much all of the land and then sold it off little by little and got just a shit ton of money. And we were looking over at some of these big ranches, very impressive barns and ranch and horses and whatever, and cars and just everything. And these families are reaping the consequences, the karma of their ancestors. And this is a dumb example, but it's just the example. Whatever your grandparents did, you are going to pay the consequences for it. If they were impoverished and lived in poverty, and you were born into poverty, people would say, well, what did that child do in any previous life to deserve this existence, to deserve this life? And it's not about the point is, you're looking at karma the wrong way. Karma is not about punishment, and it's not about reward. It's just about consequence. So whatever your lot in life is karma, and however you handle it is karma. And I took a quote from him about spirituality, but the point is, karma is just consequence. So, you're only at where you're at in life because of karma. He says, when you live by the memory of a single book, you are religious. When you live by the memory of several books, you are an intellectual. When you live by the memory of several generations of people, you become a truly compassionate human being. When you live beyond the memory of generations of people, you become a mystic. And I don't understand the concept of mystics. So, but he claims himself to be a mystic. He lives beyond the memory of generations of people, whatever that means. So that's karma as a memory. Let's go to chapter 4, the Great Karmic Warehouse. Your actions today compel your actions in the future. Your actions should describe your being, not your activities. You are not a golfer because you've golfed. Your actions should describe your being, not your activities. Your activities should not describe your being. So again, excuse me. Sadhguru describes himself not as a golfer or as a writer. He describes himself as a yogi, a mystic, and the founder of the Isha Foundation. That's how he describes himself. That's all I've got for chapter 4. Chapter 5, how did it all begin? Yogis believe everything was created out of nothing. Oh yeah, this is about yeah. Yeah, this chapter was trippy. Um Kind of like the Big Bang, but he kind of believes in the Big Bang, but there were names and gods that like the world or the universe when it was nothing was a god, and then the god of nothing had sex with the god of memory or something, and then the universe was created. It's a crazy story. Anyway. Hey, what's not a crazy story about the creation of the universe? Whether it's two gods having sex that created the universe, or just the Big Bang at all, or just a god creating the universe. Like, what's not a crazy story? Because who the fuck knows how all of it began? He says, "May none of your dreams come true." And that might sound like a diss, but it comes with awesome perspective. Since dreams are only the things we can perceive, we are naturally selfish creatures. He wishes that the good things we cannot perceive are what come to pass. Just like this goes back to like wanting to be a millionaire by 30, which was legit pretty close to one of my goals that I've had for a while, which I don't hold to myself anymore. Because the money is not what's important, it's the experiences and it's the education. What more important than money is living a quality life. That's besides the point. As a naive and selfish creature, I want a lot of money because I figure a lot of money is going to bring me a lot of comfort and peace. But he says, "May none of your dreams come true," because we can only wish for what we can perceive. And he says that there are things that are infinitely better for us that either we cannot perceive or that we will never dream for ourselves. Like, a couple years ago, I never would have dreamed about being a yogi. But today, I love being a yogi for reasons that I never came up with before. I find immense value in discipline and delayed gratification and patience, and I still suck at exemplifying those virtues, but I know the value of doing that. I know the value of writing. I listened to Jordan Peterson a little it was not an interview. I think it was just a clip from one of his lectures. He says he's something about how the government needs to teach. Oh, he said, you want people to be critical thinkers? Teach them to write. Teach them to write. And as the son of an English teacher, I've always thought English was dumb, and I didn't do very well in English, and I didn't like to write. And I think I kind of just was bitter or petty because my mom is an English teacher, and she encouraged reading and writing. And I just wanted to play video games and date girls. I didn't even really want to date girls. I just wanted to be popular with my friends. I wanted to be popular. And now I love to write, and I love to fucking read. And I am upset that I am only picking this up now, but I'm glad that I'm doing it now. That's all that I can. I'm grateful that I'm learning as I go. And critical thinking. I think the most important skill any person can learn is the skill of critical thinking, because critical thinking is taught me not how to be a good person socially, but also how to be a good person for myself and in my relationships, and how to be healthier and stronger. It's taught me how to be open-minded for other perspectives, other views, other beliefs. And honestly, I think it kind of stemmed from my mission when I was reading every freaking day. I was reading out of the scriptures and all of the approved Mormon literature, but I was reading and studying so hardcore and writing in my journal every day. I had never written in my journal ever until I went on a mission. And I think I learned those skills. And then I came home and I went back into my old ways of wanting to be popular among my friends and my peers. But now I'm getting over it. I don't know. I still have that. I still have, I'm still the same person, but I think I'm growing up in a lot of ways. Critical thinking, so important. Reading and writing. And how does this tie into may none of your dreams come true? Oh yeah, because I just never would have dreamt to be a critical thinker back in the day. I just wanted to be rich and famous and have a lot of sex. When you talk about your mission, you switch to say frickin'. I think I noticed that too. I'll go back and say the F word though. Don't think I won't. Yeah, it's just I'm trying to stay morally in line. What's a more Mormon word than frick though? And what sounds dumber than frick? Frick. You're making me blush out here, my man. Making me blush about my mission. So anyway, the point is, life is more than than our passions and our cravings and our desires. Life is just it is to be enjoyed and to be. I say, golly, yeah, you do when you play video games. Mashed potatoes. He says, gosh. He says, when he gets really mad, he goes, gosh. It's really funny. All right, yeah, so fuck your dreams because there's better things out there for you. Part 2. This is the how of karma. Chapter 6, Karma Yoga. Oh yeah, I liked this part 2. I got a lot of notes. I'm gonna go through them, try to go through them quick. We're 47 minutes in, so let's try to keep this to an hour. That's always the goal. The idea of heaven is a bad idea because it presumes life there is better than life here. Quote, it is not the content of your life that matters. It is the context. Again, this is perspective. Perspective means everything. Don't look up or down on people or things. Simply look and see things for what they are. I love that. Duty is tyranny. Doing things out of respect and love is better. So act however you please. Be mindful of the consequences. Remember karma. Remember, karma is just consequence. Karma is not punishment or reward. It is consequence. Awareness is not mental alertness. It is not something you do. It is a state of being. Awareness is a state of being. Be conscious of everything you say, do, eat, think, etc. Ooh, I love this chapter. People try to assign purpose to everything they do. They call it God or duty, obligation, whatever. This is bondage. God has ordained no one. Are you operating out of your identity or activity? Be involved in your activity, but not defined by it. Not the product of anything. This is karma yoga. I don't really understand the phrase karma yoga because, again, yoga is those 8 limbs that we were talking about, and karma is consequence. Ooh, okay, so let's break it down. The consequence, karma yoga is the consequences of exercising restraint, observation, posture, breath control, withdrawal of senses, the consequences of withdrawal of senses, of concentration, the consequences of meditation, the consequence of pure contemplation. Ooh. Oh, okay. It's coming together. Action is not the problem. The expectation of the fruit of action is what causes suffering. This is karma yoga. I'm going to read I'm going to read that again. People try to assign purpose to everything they do. This is bondage. Okay. God has ordained no one. Are you operating out of identity or activity? Be involved in your activity, but not defined by it. Not the product of anything. This is karma yoga. Action is not the problem. The expectation of the fruit of action is the cause of suffering. So action, your activity, what you do is has consequences, and that's karma yoga. Are you acting out of your selfishness, your identity, or are you acting out of your activity, what you're contributing? That's karma yoga. The consequence of contemplation and meditation, the consequence of concentration and delayed gratification, the consequence of posture, or I guess you can just call that action, your movement, your body movement, and breath control, the consequence of restraint and observance. Oh, yeah. Quote, giving up something for something is commerce. Giving up something for nothing is sacrifice. Quote, that's close quote. That sounds like a general authority now. Close quote. Seeking pleasures does not lead to bliss and peace. Peace and bliss come only through sacrifice. Seeking pleasures does not lead to bliss and peace. And I write about that, peace and bliss, in my blog, bitch. Go check it out. Seeking pleasure is such a natural thing, though, because what feels good, there's a reason our body tells us that what we are experiencing is good. Because if we didn't, I think I talked about this last week. What did we read last week? Man, Dopamine Nation. Yes. If we didn't feel pain or pleasure, we would neither pursue anything or avoid anything. Pleasure persuades us to pursue, and pain persuades us to resist or to avoid. So when something is pleasurable, like sex or really good food or video games or like having a really good conversation or going on a walk or exercising, when something feels good, our brain chemical process is convincing us or is trying to persuade us to keep doing it. But and then when we experience painful things, our body's trying to tell us to avoid that in the future. And so those are really, but again, knowing when it's I guess it's tough I write about this in more concise terms in my blog. But the point is, we live in a world that has never existed with technology and travel and communication. Again, I'm talking to you through a camera that's being shot out into the space and then broadcast onto your phone or your TV or however you consume my fucking shit. So it's completely unnatural, but we consume it because if there's things about it that feels good. Conversations back in the day before technology felt good because human interaction has served to be a contributing factor to our well-being. But now we consume too much, and the impact of blue light from screens and the overconsumption of entertainment on screens has led us to engage less with people in real life, which has a negative impact. We just got to be more mindful of what we're doing now. But back in the day, when there wasn't any Diet Coke or Coke on the ground, you had to go look for fresh water. And if you ever came across fruit, like the sugar in the fruit tasted really good because it's really high in nutrients. So our bodies are designed to love sugar because the only sugar in the world was fruit and honey and whatever else. So our bodies are like, eat all of it. If you come across fruit, eat all of it. I'm off on a tangent about pain and pleasure. It's all about mindfulness. And I'll end this chapter with what I just said. Whoops. Seeking pleasures does not lead to bliss and peace. In today's world, peace and bliss come only through sacrifice. And sacrifice, again, is giving up something for nothing. Giving up something for nothing. Giving up something for something is commerce. It's business. Giving up money for a product is commerce. But giving up food for hunger is sacrifice. Giving up screen time for meditation is sacrifice. Giving up what else? Giving up porn for celibacy is sacrifice. It's the and not, I guess, yeah, thinking porn and sex, but sex is a, yeah, whatever. I don't want to keep going on that. Let's just move on to the book. Sacrifice, peace and bliss come through sacrifice. Chapter 7, Karma Yoga and the physical body. Work hard on yourself now so your karmic load will be later on will be lighter. Gratitude shapes your attitude. Those are the only notes I took from this chapter. But karma yoga, again, the consequences of those 8 things, of the 8 limbs of yoga, and the physical body. Work hard on yourself now. Take care of your body. Eat well. Exercise. All the shit that I've already been talking about. Chapter 8, Karma Yoga and the mental body. Memory and imagination are the source of suffering. Living in the moment is happening whether you are aware of it or not. Living in the moment is all we ever have. The past and future only live in your memory. The only thing that is real is this one moment. I've always thought that concept is silly because our experiences are real and our anticipation can be real. But in reality, the only thing that is actually real is what's happening. When someone wrongs you and then life goes on, you hold resentment against that person or an event, you are living in the past. You're not living in the moment. You're not aware of the present moment, and you're causing yourself suffering for it. And if you're anticipating something in the future, like you're anticipating someone to break up with you or to get fired from your job or the stock market to crash or whatever, if you're anticipating something that causes you stress, you're living in the future and you're causing yourself suffering and you're not living in the moment. Living in the moment is such a cliche, dumb thing to me. It's always seemed like a dumb thing, but it really is the only thing that's real. Living right now, the only thing that's real is me talking into this microphone saying the words I'm saying. And I could think about how my exercise went this morning. I could think about the workload that I have coming up after this is done. But none of that matters because the only thing that's happening is what I'm doing right now and what you're doing right now. What are you doing while you're listening to this? The only thing that matters is how you act in the present moment. And how you act in the present moment produces karma. It produces consequences. So what are you doing? What are you doing right now? The past and future only live in your memory. The only thing that is real is this one moment. All right. Just like you are not what is on your phone, you are not your body. You are in your body, but you are not your body. I think this is kind of unique to yogis. This concept that your state of being is like your individuality is separate from your body. I guess more like my Mormon background tells me that our spirits inhabit our bodies, and then when we die, our spirits leave our bodies. So I guess that's the same concept. And you take that principle and you think and you meditate on the fact that the pain and also the pleasure that you experience, that your body experiences, is not what is separate from what your mental, spiritual state is experiencing. They're separate. And I think from the Yoga Sutras or from another book, pure meditation is being able to step outside of your body and observe the things that are happening throughout the entire day. When you experience something pleasant or something unpleasant, things aren't happening to you. They're happening to your identity. They're happening to your body. Those things aren't happening to you as an individual. They're happening to your body. So pain and pleasure are simply, again, our caveman tools to help us experience the world and to navigate the world. But our spirits, they don't experience pleasurable things. They just observe them. Our spirits and our minds observe the things that happen to our body. It's an interesting concept. Think about it. He says, quote, "Happiness is not an occasion or a destination. It is a constant state of existence." And this is the end of suffering. That's the that's that's living in the moment and making conscious decisions to be happy in the present. That's what to me that's what that's saying. There is a difference between using your mind and being ruled by it. Are we in control of our lives, or are we in control of our lives, or are our lives in control of us? How do you take control of your life? Well, you can't just say, "Oh, I'm not going to be sad anymore," and then you're just not sad. You have to make conscious decisions every day to be in a state of peace. Because if you live again, karma is consequence, and it's not always your action that causes consequences. It can be the consequences of your parents, of your grandparents, of your kids, of your friends. Your existence is the consequence of the world around you and your own action as well. It's all of that included. And when things are out of our control, all we can do is control our reaction to these external events, to our karmic load. So if you live in a state of sadness or anxiety or depression or the first, any mental dissonance, the first thing you should do is to learn to be aware of yourself and then aware of your surroundings in your life. Be aware of how you're acting, how you're responding, what you're thinking, what you're saying. Be aware of everything. What did he say earlier about awareness? That was really good. Awareness is not mental alertness. It is something you do. Awareness is a state of being. Be conscious of everything you say, do, eat, think, etc. And then choose to be at peace instead of choosing to suffer. Don't let the negative events of your life dictate the quality of your life. Oh, that was deep. That was deep. Don't let the events of your life dictate the quality of your life. So, are you in control of your life, or is your life in control of you? Chapter 9, Karma Yoga and the Energy Mind. Again, energy is another tacky thing that I've kind of just laughed at in the past. I still don't understand it completely. My first thought in this chapter was, if context is more important than content, then you can do whatever you want so long as you accept the karmic load of it. Because, yes, context is more important than content. The meaning behind your actions, your thoughts, your decisions is more important than the decisions, the actions. And if you're a shitty person and you're willing to accept the karmic load for it, then. But here's an interesting thought. Like I said, the karma you experience can be from the consequences of other people, and if they're murderers and if there are rapists in the world, because we suffer the consequences of their actions as well. Our karmic load rests on our actions and our inaction. If we decide not to punish or not to restrain monsters and terrible people, then we're going to suffer the consequences and the karmic load of those people. Or we do nothing. Yeah, or we do nothing and we suffer the consequences. But we can also exhibit action to stop monsters. But my thought was, if the context is more important than the content, we can do whatever we want so long as we accept the karmic load of it. So if we're content living in a world of poverty, then people will be in poverty. And people will say, "Oh, well, why did God decide that these people in Africa should be born into poverty and to starve, or people in the south side of Chicago or in Compton or all of the other disrupted places in the world? What do they do to deserve those situations?" Again, karma is neither punishment nor reward. It is consequence. And if we decide that we're content with the world and the state that it is, it's going to continue being that way. So we are responsible for the events for all of the events in the world. whether we know about them or not. It's we're our awareness and then our action or inaction brings the karmic load. Quote, whatever you pay unwavering attention to is what you become connected with. This is the energy mind. Making good decisions is your responsibility. Boom. And then I said, I am skeptical of energy like I am of spirits and God and things that require faith, but I resonate with energy more than those others. I see energy as perception. Yeah, that's the thought that I had. That's my note. When people are like, oh, like vibes. When people are like, oh, we vibe. We just vibe, or we don't vibe. That's energy to me. To me, it's like your connection with other people on a plane that you can't explain. And I feel that like there are people that I connect with better than others, regardless of our interests or our similarities. Some people are you just vibe with better, and I don't know what the fuck vibing is. I don't know how it plays a role in like the existential part of life in the human experience. I don't know. It's energy though. It's just this whatever, bro. What the fuck ever. Energy. That's so anyway. Karma yoga and the energy mind. Whatever you pay unwavering attention to is what you become connected with. Making good decisions is your responsibility. Part 3, final part, and there's only one chapter because it's just a bunch of Q&A. So I listened to it and I just took some notes from his Q&A. This addresses the buts and whys of karma. Karma is basically consequences for your action and inaction, basically. Quote, pain is physical. Suffering is purely psychological. I love that. Pain is what happens to our bodies. Pain is a physical experience. Suffering is a psychological experience. Suffering in our mind, our spirit, or whatever, however you experience it, that's a choice. Because like I was trying to explain, we are not our bodies. We're not what's happening to our bodies, whether it's pain or whether it's pleasure. We are our minds. We are the conscious being that occupies this physical state. And this physical state is frail and subject to pain and to suffering. So when we get shot in the leg, it's going to fucking hurt. But are we going to be at peace? Or are we going to live in suffering? We're going to be in fucking pain. It's going to hurt. But are we going to live in a state of mind that brings down our quality of life? Or are we going to live in a state of mind that brings us peace? Because you get to choose. You get to choose to be at peace, or you get to choose to be in suffering. You don't always get to choose. In fact, you hardly ever get to choose the events that happen in your life, the pain and the pleasures that come your way. But you always get to choose the suffering or the peace. And that's the fucking meat of the whole thing. This is like an unintended result that I've come to through all of this study is more important than the money, more important than success in investing, more important than being like the strongest or the fittest or the sexiest or the funniest or whatever, all of the vain and selfish things that we try to achieve, that I've tried to achieve, like the most talented musician, the best at the video games, the most educated in sports, and I've never really tried that hard to do that one, but the most caught up with the news and with politics and just like the biggest influencer or the most popular in social media, the most popular in high school. The more that you those things don't bring what we're actually after. And what in this world people need is to feel peace, to be at peace. Because pleasure is not peace. Peace of mind is completely separate from our pursuits. Our pursuits are supposed to contribute to the world, and they're supposed to in a positive way. And but they're not. Those don't define us. Just like he was saying, our pursuits are. Wow, I'm losing my train of thought. I'm like getting emotional. Our pursuits are the things that we do, but they're not our identity. When we act for our identity, when we go to the gym because we want to be sexy, because we want to get all the chicks, then we're acting out of our identity, and we're bound by that pursuit. But when we go to the gym because we want to be healthy, because I want to be healthy and strong to contribute to my family, and I want to help, and I want to live and be healthy and strong for as long as I can, because I want to contribute to the world for as long as I can. That's a kind of a selfish pursuit, but the intention is different than going to try to get sexy or whatever. Yeah. It's the pursuing external, like the sacrificing something for nothing is what brings peace. We don't need more pleasure. We don't need to consume more. We don't need to live more selfish. We need to be at peace. We need to learn to sacrifice more. This like you can't buy peace on Amazon. You can't get it delivered same day. Peace comes over time, and it comes in small amounts. It comes in very small amounts. I've been doing this for almost a year. I started my exercise journey in February last year when I started to get my tattoo. I started that a year ago. And the whole point of my tattoo was about how things change. Life is all about change. The only constant in life is change. And over the last year, I've done like a complete 180. It's not that dramatic, but I've changed tremendously. I focus more on my health. And honestly, the truth is, a lot of the initial intention was because I wanted to be sexier. I wanted to be more attractive. I wasn't, I just wasn't as confident as I wanted to be. And over time, what became apparent to me is the more I pursue the vanity of success, the less happy I'll become, the less happy I'll be. The same thing happened with work. I took on an extreme workload for the last couple of years because I thought the harder I work, the more successful I'll be, the more money I'll have, the happier I'll be. And it's not true. No, it's not true. I'm happier when I balance all aspects of my life and when I engage meaningfully with my friends and with my family and with myself. When I do things that contribute to well-being but are not vain. So I still work hard at my job, but not because I want money, but because I want security, so that I can pursue other things, and so I can do shit like this, like do the podcast and write a blog. I do yoga not because I want to be the most. Well, I do want to be flexible, but not because not for selfish reasons. Because I want like longevity in my limbs and my muscles and tendons, and I exercise. I want to be strong. You get the fucking point. I eat well because I just want to live longer, and I want to feel better so I could be a better person, a happier person to engage with. Oh, wow. I'm almost done. He talks about how a tiger's life is fixed. They can't choose to be yogis or vegetarians or anything like that. Then he says humans' lives are not fixed. Is that true, though, because we can think and contemplate reality, or are our lives fixed because our bodies are bound by the physical world? That's a complex thought. I don't know if I'm ready to digest. Tigers, like animals, it's kind of like animals are robots, but that's not true. Animals aren't robots. Some animals have complex behaviors, and they think, and whether it's conscious or unconscious. But I don't know. I'm no biologist. I think humans are animals too. But we've just developed a different way to live. Ants are complex, just like tigers are complex, and wolf packs, and their social bonds. Everybody, even dogs. I think about the dogs that my dogs, my brother's dogs, their connection with each other, and then with humans. It's all complex, but they're operating off of the same behavior patterns that humans have operated off of: pain and pleasure. And maybe they don't get to choose to sacrifice. They don't fast because they want to live on a higher plane of life. So, I don't know why that happens. I don't know why humans are more complex. People will say humans are special. I just don't think humans are special. I think we've just developed differently. But that's just a raw opinion with really not a lot of context. Nature determines animals' destiny. Humans decide their own. Yeah. I mean, how can I argue that? Yeah, animals can't choose. They don't get married and go on vacations. But humans do. We're just complex. We are a lot more complex. But in our own way. All right, that's the book. That's Karma, bitch. A Yogi's Guide to Crafting Your Destiny. So yeah, you want to think about crafting your destiny some more. Think about what you can do, what steps you can take to become more aware of what you do and more aware of things that are not in your control. The obvious ones are like the weather and natural disasters. Those are things that are not in our control. But more subtle things that we don't necessarily think about are how our boss talks to us, or how our spouse talks to us, or like if your car breaks down or pops a tire, or what else? Like my podcast, my Spotify, or not my Spotify, my Streamlabs crashed when I fired it up. I don't know if you got that notification that the pod went live twice, but there's just things out of your control. Pretty much everything is out of your control. And just because my Keurig worked and made my coffee doesn't mean that I'm in control of my Keurig. Because someday it'll break. I put the pot in and it made coffee, and someday it won't. And someday the computers will crash. And someday the government will collapse. None of it's in our control. So be aware of those things. And then exercise these 8 limbs of yoga, however they make sense to you. Restraint, observances, posture, breath control, withdrawal of senses, concentration, meditation, pure contemplation. Practice those things, and then go read my blog and learn about virtues and live by virtues. And when you live by virtues, you will live at a deeper. You'll have a deeper sense of peace. Because again, peace comes through sacrifice, and most of the virtues is sacrifice, discipline, patience, delayed gratification, courage, temperance. They all require giving up some kind of pleasure, but it almost always comes with the reward, either now or in the future. So, all of this, these books, this podcast, the blog, everything that I'm trying to do now is not because I want to be rich and famous and sexy. It's because I want to be at peace, and I want to help other people be at peace. I do want to be rich and sexy and famous, but, maybe that'll change because I'm still carnal and vain, and I still love to play video games and do things that are not good for me because they feel good, because Oreos and beer taste so fucking good, and social media is so entertaining. Yeah, I try to be a hard ass sometimes, but I make a lot of and it's not even mistakes. I just give in to my pleasures. I give in to my guilty pleasures all the time. We all do. The point is, the more that you restrain yourself, again, hey, look, that's called a yama. The more you restrain yourself, the the more at peace you will be later on in your life. And or you just live your entire life of pursuing pleasure and pursuing and consuming everything that comes your way and just living by living by your carnal desires. And you know what? It's your fucking life. And like I said, where did I say it? Right here. You can do whatever you want so long as you accept the karmic load of it. If you want to just compulsively eat and drink, you're just, fine. You're going to be unhealthy and you're going to get fat and you're going to have acne, probably. And your quality of life will diminish. And so whatever. But then the karmic load expands beyond that. You'll eventually have kids, and your influence on your kids is part of your karmic load. And that's that's just the consequence. That's just the consequence of your actions. So the more disciplined, the more you practice virtues today, the better impact you'll have on everybody else and yourself. More importantly, yourself, and then for everybody else. Because just like the airlines say, you can't help anybody until you help yourself first with those little oxygen masks. Help yourself first. Be in a better place for yourself first, and then go help other people. And just by helping yourself, you'll be helping other people. Karma, bitch. That's a good one by Sadhguru. You can find this anywhere, pretty much. I got it on Amazon. I get all my books on Amazon. I also do most of my audiobooks on Apple Books. So go, I would recommend this one. 8 out of 10. And I'm going to probably start writing my reviews of the books in my blog as well. For those of you that like to, I think there's some of you that like to read more than they like to listen to the podcast. And just do quick reviews of all of this that we're talking about. Mashed Potato says, keep dreaming on the sexy part. Yeah. Yeah, it's as the sooner that I abandon that desire, the happier I'll be. The sooner I abandon my vain. But you know what? I was thinking about shaving my mustache, and I think my vanity is preventing me from doing that because I think I look like a freaking 2-year-old without a mustache, a little baby face. My vanity is keeping I really like my mustache. But, yeah, maybe I'll never be sexy or rich and famous. And you know what? That's not the point anymore. That's not why we're doing any of this. I think I told you that my mom was like, you should get on, is it, what's the, Squarespace? No, what's the blog? No, it's not Squarespace. What's the blog website that people go to? Oh, shit. What's the name of it? I can find it. It's not that important, but I can't believe I forgot what it's called. My mom was like, you should start posting your blog on this one because on this website because you can get paid on it. And I was like, you know what, Mom? When I started doing the podcast the first time, I really wanted to get paid because, of course, I want to get paid for all the shit that I do. God damn, where is it? But sorry, I'm looking for what the name of that website is. Of course I'd want to get paid for all of this stuff that I do, but that was my intention when I got started, and then I burnt out, or I just didn't. It just became less exciting or less purposeful. When my intention changed from getting noticed, becoming an influencer, or getting paid from doing a podcast, and changed into I'm doing this to improve myself, and I'm doing this to contribute to the world however I can, to help whoever will listen. And most of the time, it's mostly just mashed potatoes in the chat. When the intention changed, it became far more rewarding. And maybe someday people will want to pay me to do this, but most likely they're not going to. And I don't care. I don't even care anymore. That's why I love doing it. That's why I've been doing it for 7 months, almost 8 months, because I'm not waiting to get paid. I'm not going to do it forever. Like, you can't do anything forever. But right now, this is what I'm deciding to do. This is how I'm trying to improve my life, and it's doing a hell of a job. So I hope, as I try to always remind you, I hope that this contributes to your life in a positive way. I'd love to hear how it does or how it does not. If you have any feedback for me, you can reach out to me on my social medias, which are right down here on the bottom of the screen if you're watching. Or you can always show up and comment in the chat and we can talk, whatever. I do this live on Monday mornings, Mountain Standard Time, 8 a.m. Every Monday. And I do it on Twitch under Alpha Seltzer, ALFASELTZER. I'm not even going to spell everything again. YouTube or Facebook. I do a blog, CadenKellysBlog.wordpress.com. And I'm here trying to make the world a better place because I feel like we're all waiting for the doomsday clock to expire. Global warming's going to kill us, or the fucking feds will with nukes, or the Russians, or whatever or the liberals, whatever your fears are, or the second coming. All we can do is try to make the world a better place for us now, because all we have is this moment. And that's where we're going to end this. Bitch, we'll see you next time. Have a good week.